Why is that someone can be born the same year, the same day as someone else, but live a completely different life? Everyone is born on the same planet, yet we manage to live very different lives. Geographical location, religion, history, climate, and political situations are all pieces that form the identity of someone, that shape who they are and their culture. Culture is defined as the arts, beliefs, customs, institutions, and other products of human work and thought considered as a unit, especially with regard to a particular time or social group. We could say that it is all of the different angles from which we can identify someone of a society. However, in order for there to be a culture, you need people to form it, which in turn live in it and are shaped by it in an endless cycle. Today, we'll be speaking about many unique cultures in the world and how their societies and cultures interact. We'll begin by talking about Mexico, then continue to Cuba, India, and Afghanistan.
Mexico. With more than 100 million population, Mexico has a set like no other of cultures and towns formed by civilization, singular traditions, and a thrilling story. The big size of Mexican society and its nature have a lot of contrasts, particularities, and a very marked identities. Due to the migration from the field to the city looking for better opportunities, most of the people live in urban areas. Nevertheless, it exists a big diversity with ethnic groups. Mexican culture is jealous of their traditions and at the same time diverse. It exists a really strong pride to the traditions and the folklore of each of the regions. There are more and more beliefs that are expanding and growing between the citizens. Nevertheless, the Catholic Church is still the most important. Even though the Catholic Church does not allow this believing, La Santa Muerte is turning in one of the principal cults between the population in Mexico, who with offerings as candies, tequila, and flowers ask for La Niña Blanca, also known as money, love, work, and protection. It is estimated that more or less 10 million of Mexicans are believers and followers of La Santa Muerte. According to their flowers, La Santa Muerte only looks justice, even though her aspect is terrific and scary. Mexican culture is the product of a mix of practices and native traditions, with the presence of the Spanish colony. It has always existed a fight of the Mexicans along their history to define and promote the identity of their nation. In consequence, the art and literature of Mexico have had a really long history. The country has a lot of Mayas and Aztecs constructions, and they are still maintaining a lot of the traditions of these cultures. Nevertheless, as a result of the colonization, a big part of Mexican literature takes borrowed ideas and techniques of Europe. It was not till after the revolution that the arts started to develop their own characteristics and to evolve, giving the world some of the most important art figures and universal literature. Our next culture is Cuba. The Caribbean nation of Cuba is well known for its vibrant and rich culture, that it's a complex mixture of different influences and factors. Cuban culture is born out of different cultures that came into Cuba throughout the years. Different religions, languages, customs, and traditions. Its mainly influence is by Latin American, European, African, and Indigenous American cultures. For a long time, Cubans were not allowed to follow any religion and they were persecuted for doing so. In 1992, there was an amendment created that allowed religious freedom in the country. But currently, about 60% of the population is Catholic. Practice Santeria, that it's an African traditional religion. Culture has made a very big impact on society because if there were not all the diversity of cultures in the country, people would be very different. Culture is what makes Cuban people unique. We all love to dance a good salsa song. Music is a very important part of Cuban culture. It is influenced by Spanish and African music. The salsa dance is a blend of mambo, cha-cha-cha, danzón, and rumba dancing. This is a very typical style of dance that was created in Cuba. Society has changed culture over the years because throughout the years they have adapted to cultures of countries that go to their country. Are you hungry? Because Cuban cuisine is delicious. It is influenced by Spanish, African, Caribbean, and also Chinese cuisine. Pork is the most common meat that is used in typical dishes. It is served with rice and beans, but not all of the population can afford to cook extravagant dishes, so they often depend on food rations. Cuban coffee is world famous, although most of the coffee grown there is exported and then consumed by locals. It is imported from Africa. When we think of Cuba, we think of lots of color, music, vintage cars, and amazing dances. This is what makes Cuban really unique, and it is because of their culture. We're now going to talk about India. It's located in South Asia, and with a population of about 1,372 million people, India is the second most populated country in the world. It was previously a British colony and gained independence in 1947. Their official religion is Hinduism and they speak in Hindu. India has a strong hierarchical system, divided by castes. These are associated with Hinduism and the different tiers of reincarnation, as well as levels of wealth and power. People often remain in the same social group for the rest of their lives and interact with the same people that they grew up with, as well as follow the particular familiar hierarchies set by those people. These systems are in general pretty strict and determine the life of someone since their birth. In this way, society has formed a very established culture and set of rules around the position in society of someone, which determines the context they live in, the things they are allowed to do, or the treatment they get from others. However, this society is an everlasting result of the Hinduist culture in the country. Without this, people would most likely live differently. If they didn't have such a strong and lasting culture, it is very likely that they would have lost this during their colonial period, which lasted from 1845 to 1947. Even after centuries of foreign rule, they still managed to maintain their culture in a strong way, which proves that it is so integrated within the society that it is essential for people. All of this makes India unique and is a culture worldwide known. Our last culture will be Afghanistan. Afghanistan has a rich and diverse culture that has perfectionized over the years. It is influenced by the Islam. There are two official languages in the country, Dari and Pashto. Religion plays an important role in the Afghanistan culture. Islam is the major religion. It is practiced by 99.7% of the citizens. However, the oldest religion is Zoroastrianism, that appeared to be originated in the 18th century before Christ. Throughout the years, society has changed culture because in the 9th century after Christ, Islam became the nation's dominant religion, and there are only 2,000 Zoroastrians approximately left. Culture changed a lot in society because everything and everyone revolves in the religion, music, food, etc. The types of clothes worn there are a reflection of the cultural composition of the country. Many of the traditional attires are made out of light linen and are characterized by loose fittings. The most popular style is the Pashtun clothing. It is inspired by the Pashtun culture and it comes in male and female variants. For men, it is characterized because of the headgear, the turban, and female wear long dresses and long skirts called kameez, and a belt that is usually used during festivities. Afghanistan is also known for the rugs. This shows how culture has made a change in Afghanistan people, such as they don't wear different clothes rather than their cultural typical ones. Afghan cuisine is a reflection of the nation's cultural diversity. The main foods are rice, barley, wheat, and maize. Kabuli pulao. It is recognized as the national dish. It has rice, which is the dominant food there. Kebabs are also important for the Afghan cuisine, especially roasted lamb. But beef is also a meat that they eat. Kebabs are very easy to make and affordable. They can be found on many street vendor stalls, although they don't drink alcoholic drinks. They have a unique drink called dugh. It is made out of yogurt, water, and mint. This drink can be prepared at home or in stores or restaurants.